Hi everyone. So today in this video I will be showing supervisors how to fill out a payroll change form. So the first thing that you'll do is you'll go to your File Explorer, Shared Files, Shared Forms, Supervisors, and then you will pull up Payroll Change Form LBI LTI. And this is what your payroll change form will look like. So the first thing that you do when filling out a payroll change form is choose the location in which you are making the change for. So in my case that would be Uniontown. The date that I am requesting the change, and then the supervisor that is making the change. Then you would go to the employee that you are making the change for. So for this example, we will use Joe Schmo. Joe is a full-time employee. The only reason that you will need to fill out a new address or phone number is at the time of hire, or if the employee requested an address or phone number change for you to submit to HR. So next we'll go down to the initial/current box. We will choose the department that the employee is in. So Joe Schmo is in education. We will enter his position. So Joe is a gen ed instructor. And then we would enter what Joe is currently paid. So for this example, we will put $32,640 that he is paid salary. Now a grade would only need to be chosen at the time of hire, or if they are having a position change and their grade is changing, you would put what they are currently at and then choose their new grade. Same with status. So at the time of hire, you would choose whether they are exempt or non-exempt, and that would not need to be chosen again unless you are changing them from whichever they were to whatever they are changing to. So next we'll move on to the salaried instructor use only box, and we'll go ahead and fill out this part. So for hours worked, the way that hours worked are determined are you would do what the employee works per week multiplied by the number of teaching weeks per year. So for Uniontown, Sharon, Hermitage, and Fort Mill, those are typically on 45-week schedules. And then Morgantown and our Uniontown PN program are at 47.5 weeks. So since Joe is a gen ed instructor, he's at 45 teaching weeks per year. So we would multiply 40 times 45 teaching weeks. So that is 1,800 hours per year that he works. And then our holiday would be determined based on how many hours he works per week, and we would multiply that by 2. So that is 80 hours per week. And then if you typically have an employee ask you, well, how many hours do I get paid per holiday? You would take the 80 hours and you would divide that by 10. We divide it by 10 because there are 10 paid holidays in a year. So Joe Schmo would be paid for 8 hours per holiday pay. And then for PTO, we would put how many hours of PTO during breaks that they receive. The PTO during semester is already included in their initial salary, so whenever we enter the PTO, we only put what they are paid during breaks. Alright, so his total annual hours does then increase to 1,920. Now for Joe, we are doing a merit increase because of performance evaluation. So that is what we'll do when we fill out this box. We will choose his department, his position, and then how do we determine his salary. So say we want Joe to be paid $2 more per hour. So we would need to figure out what he was initially paid per hour at this salary. So we would take his $32,640 and we would divide that by his total annual hours. So currently Joe is paid $17 per hour. And like we said, we want his pay to increase $2 per hour. So we would do $19, and then we would multiply that by his total annual hours of the 1920. And then that would bring his new salary to $36,480 as a salary. Now, the next thing that we would do is his effective change date. The effective change date, HR asked that other than a new hire date, that any change would be made effective for the 1st of the month or the 16th of the month, because that is the beginning of a new payroll and it just makes everything smoother when processing a pay period. So since today's the 13th and we had our evaluation with Joe, we would want this to be effective the 16th. So I'll put in here July 16th, 2023. Now for this other, you can put information that you would want in here. So we would just put performance evaluation. Now for last day worked, this would only need to be filled out if we were having a layoff, a termination, a recall from layoff, or a resignation or transfer or leave of absence. So like I said, we are doing a merit increase for Joe, so we don't have to put anything for the last date worked. And then the start date for an introductory period would only be submitted if we were having a new hire or a position transfer into a new role. And then this would be checked for the satisfactory completion of an introductory period if they had completed their 6-month introductory period. At that point you would say whether it was satisfactory or not. Eligible for rehire would only be used for termination or resignation. You would choose either if they are eligible for rehire, yes or no. If it happens to be no, you would put in the comments why they are not eligible for the rehire. Now you'll always want to enter an employee's average hours per week. So as we said earlier, Joe works 40 hours per week. And then we are doing a merit increase. So merit increase because of performance evaluation. And then we would scroll down and the supervisor would enter their name here for whoever submitted this, along with the date that it was submitted. And then the change would need to either be approved by your supervisor or the campus president, depending on your location and position. And then the final signature would be Nancy Decker's approval. So you can either submit this to HR and we would go ahead and get Nancy Decker's approval, or you could submit this directly to Nancy and she would bring it to HR. Once all of these signatures are completed, the last place that receives these are HR. At that point, we would update it in Paycom and date the day that we updated it, and that is how you complete a payroll change form.